You don't get. No. She looked like Samuel. Bruh, look at this dude nose.
To start off the video, chapter 924, Ha! We see Sentomaru breaking wood for some elderly couple bears, right? And how the house design and the kimonos they have on, it's like very Japanese-ish, so he probably is in Wano, but we don't know for sure, but it seems like it. So we start off the first chapter where we left off, where Kaido just completely one-shot Luffy. And it's crazy that Luffy even thinking about running up on a Yonko like this, but we already saw in Talkland he was willing to do that with no problem. But Kaido didn't hold back at all. Law tried to quickly save Luffy with his Room no Mi, but Hawkins didn't allow that to happen. As soon as Law tried to create his, before Law could even create his room, he threw a sea prison stone nail at him, and Law was shocked at this because it was only a nail. At first, he didn't know it was sea prism stone until his power got cut off. And I guess this was the first time Law ever seen something of this magnitude, that it been so refined down to a nail. And Hawkins comments that only the craftsmen and Wano is able to create these type of things, because they handcrafting is so advanced that they able to not only carve into poneglyphs, which is indestructible because it been shot by cannons, been burned. They tried to break it numerous times, but they also able to refine a sea prism stone down to a nail, possibly down to a bullet or any shape they need. In a certain case, this now that I think about it, is Smoker could possibly had got the idea for his weapon from Wano by having sea prism stone nails in his arsenal. This shoot not only Wano but Hawkins up as a character, because now he could subdue devil fruit users from afar. So say for instance, if he have like, I give 10 of these nails, he could use it strategically, where that he could place these and constantly shut down somebody devil fruit so he could get off his attacks. And the fact that he's able to use his sword and he don't have to touch it physically, it don't shut down his power. So as long as he have this sword, he could be untouchable to a devil fruit user who only relies on their devil fruit. Also, this go up for Wano, because for Wano to create these things, this shows that they knowledge is really high up there in craftsmanship, because I think this is something only the ancient kingdom was able to produce in some way. But I digress. We cut back to Kaido, where Kaido noticed that Luffy is just been grilling him this whole time, like just glaring at him, but he's knocked unconscious to everybody perception. But it seems that Luffy have an unbreakable will, which we already knew about. Even though he unconscious, he still wouldn't waver to the fact that he got one-shotted by Kaido, and Kaido was basically like, you not even close to the level of becoming Pirate King. So Kaido began to walk away, and he tell his crew to lock Luffy up with the rest of the prisoners. If you able to break his spirit, he'll be a great strength to our crew, which is true because Luffy is one of the strongest supernovas. But when they try to grab him while he was unconscious, he used his Conqueror's Haki. And this is amazing because So far we only seen I'd say besides Big Mom, Luffy is the only person we know that used the Conqueror's Haki unconscious. Big Mom, she wasn't, per se unconscious. She was just in a dazed state after seeing the picture break. But she was able to release a Conqueror's Haki that not only knocked out people around her, but protected her. And Luffy is starting to exhibit the same thing. So Kaido stopped, and he was shocked by this because he felt like the world doesn't need this many conquerors, which is crazy because he just admitted that Kid had the same thing, which towards the beginning of the New World, when they finished the Paradise, Luffy was matched up to Kid and Bounty, and he was one of the greatest candidates to become Pirate King simply because of his strength, ruthlessness, and the fact that he wouldn't let nobody step on his dream. But we also see that Sentomaru also picked up that Luffy had this haki. But I think that's kind of cool because in Wano, instead of them calling it haki or devil fruit powers, they refer to it as jutsu, like a type of power that they familiar with. So he said that Lord Odin, he using Lord Odin jutsu, which is crazy because Lord Odin was the one that I believe that either Orochi or Kaido both slayed, and for him to have Conqueror's Haki, that put him even further up because this just shows how crazy Roger crew is. Roger had Conqueror's Haki. Rayleigh had Conqueror's Haki. Odin was a part of his crew, had Conqueror's Haki, which shows that Roger is nothing to be played with, and we see why he became Pirate King. So Kaido left, and he said that he finna go back to his castle and drink because he kind of sobered up from that little battle he had with Luffy. So Law, it seems like he got away, which is pretty cool because I don't know if he got the nail out of his body for him to just flee away from Hawkins. But if he was able to do this with the nail inside him, that just proved that even without his devil fruit, Law is still somebody who could, get out of situations. So we see that Kinemon, which is pretty cute, is looking at his wife Osuru as she tending to the people who is wounded, and he just want to just go out there and tell her that she still look beautiful as ever, that he still love her, but he know that if he were to go out there, this could be a really bad problem if he were to be discovered that he's still alive after these 20 years. So we cut back to Luffy crew and Law crew to find out that they're still alive, which is crazy because it so my prediction about Sanji in the last video saving all the women and everybody else finding a way to escape the blast, I was wrong. The one that saved them was Mishino. Apparently she have the rock fruit, which is pretty cool because I think it's an upgrade to the man from Enies Lobby that eroded Zoro's sword, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which he had the rust fruit. So she probably have like the superior version of that fruit, which is pretty cool. So she was able to erode the ground for them to escape Kaido blast, which is pretty nice because that means that she had really quick reaction speed because Kaido shot a blast. Even though he was pretty far and everybody was able to see it, she was able to react fast enough, which I wouldn't say is close to Sanji, but a pretty good observation feat. So she eroded the ground for them to drop in. We don't know if it only works on material that's not alive because she did it to the ground. So we don't know if it worked on human beings or like say for instance Big Mom homies or anything like that. We just know that she able to erode things, probably like trees, grass, concrete, material that's only materials and not things that's alive. So we cut over to Inarashi, where he have Tomo in his hand, and he's telling people to hurry up and tend to her, that they gonna go in the forest, because if they stay out there, they'll attract too much attention, you know, them being minks and whatever. So this where it starts to get good and funny, because they started spreading the newspaper. It seems that Wano, because it's a closed border, that means they don't get no information outside. So they don't even know what the word pirate is, or per se. They only know that their world is as far as Wano goes. So they spreading around the paper all around Wano, and we seeing that the Straw Hats see that Luffy is in Wano, which is funny because they all making a funny face. Frankie, Robin, even Zoro making a funny face, but that's because he eating wasabi, which is Japanese spice, which I taste before, and it is really hot. And so I think that's really funny because how they reacting to Luffy being in Wano, they seem happy, but he got caught and he is jailed. So I don't know if they know that much, but he did say take the pirate out and say that we have captured Luffy Taro. So we cut to the factories. This is the next day. We cut to the factories where we see all the prisoners or workers, I guess, working in the mines, and one of Kaido probably gifters, I wouldn't say he a headliner, saying that your lives belong to Lord Orochi. If you want to live, then strike the iron. If you want to rest, I'll kill you. Which is crazy because all they could do is work, and they could sleep when they say they could sleep. So they essentially slaves, like back in Dressrosa and the underground company he had going on. So as it goes on, we cut to somebody who's carrying a fish to a cage, and he asking him who's inside of the cage. Apparently no one knows. And they said, well, I don't know who's inside that cage, and I don't care. All we've been ordered to do is to give them one poison fish a day, which means that whoever in this cage not even eating enough, just one poison fish a day with no bones. And so we about to soon find out why he said no bones. So Luffy is being dragged into this facility where he finna be imprisoned, and people are shocked that Luffy, for his size, he is pretty short, not that tall and not that muscular, but they shocked the fact that Luffy was the one who fought Kaido and destroyed the town in his rampage. And then after that, Luffy just took a very evil glare at one of the officers, one of the gifters, and he was like, "You glared at me? You glared at a guard?" So I guess he was about to punish Luffy, but out of nowhere, since the prisoner they gave the fish to, they didn't take out the bones, which is crazy. Spit the bones out of his mouth and shot him straight in the neck, where he started spewing out blood. And they like, "You idiot, you didn't even take the bones out of the fish. That's what you basically that's what you get for your carelessness." So they take Luffy and throw him into the dungeon, and they said, "Starting tomorrow, we will wear you down. You will work till you're dead." Right? So we take a nice panel of both Luffy on the floor in the cage, and then Kid. And it seems like they threw him in the same cell. It looked like that's a bar in between. But if they threw him in the same cell, they finna get hell for one thing. So Luffy and Kid is both heated, and they say, "Rude this day, Kaido," which means that in manga stream they say "rude this day," and I think Jasmine Box they said, "I kill you, Kaido." So it starts. We see somebody playing music as the curtains close for this scene, and it's a Wano Country Part 1 fin, which this is pretty nice because in Japanese like theater where they'll play out this story, they'll have like this musical background, and as the show finally comes to an end, the music start getting louder. You start to hear no other acting, nobody voice acting, but as the song play out, they close the curtain and it's finished for the that story or for that theater, and then they start on act 2 or part 2. So this chapter is really nice because it confirms a lot of things. That one, Luffy got imprisoned, which I kind of feel that was gonna happen because I didn't really think too much that Shinsumaru was just gonna step up to Kaido and try to save Luffy, because he seen Luffy try to fight Kaido. The fact that he was willing to raise a hand against Kaido shows that Luffy ain't scared of anything. But he wasn't foolish enough to just jump in there head on, because Luffy don't even have the strength to even compete with Kaido. Second thing is that we found out that there's more than one supernova who had Conqueror's Haki. I had a feeling that Usis Kid would be one, but I think another one that would be pretty cool if he had it is Yaruj, given the fact that he was able to beat one of Big Mom commanders. And this was a great chapter overall. Also, the fact that it seems that Kaido is kind of careless in some given aspect, but he can't afford to be careless for him being so strong. And he know that taking out Law is an easy feat, which would be no problem for him. So he just flew back to his island to drink again. Also, Hawkins is one hell of a character. Not only is his prediction skills always on point, but every time he throw a prediction, it's correct. His percentage of living or dying is correct. And now his power even match. Like he was able to get sea prison stones into his arsenals by shaping them into really fine nails, because sea stones is a pretty hard material. The best we seen people was able to do with it around the One Piece universe is the best they could do is make cuffs out of them. And the fact that he was able to find some craftsmen to refine it, the Wano craftsmen's able to refine it down into like a small nail that you could use to plunge into a wall, is really, really cool, because this shows that Wano as a country is really advanced, not only in a power, but in a craftsmanship and stuff like that, in a architecture if you look at their buildings. Also, things are gonna start stirring up in Wano. The fact that they locked Luffy and Kid together, it could possibly be a quick alliance between them two, and the fact that I still believe Hawkins is not fully under Kaido. Simply because the fact that he loves his prediction skills, where he always try to find out his chance of survivability. And if he could see the fact that Luffy, Kid, Law, and Zoro, and Kinemon and all of them, plus if they could get Sentomaru under them, and anybody who else that want to join the alliance to fight against Kaido and his henchmen like Orochi and his top tiers Calamities, he would easily switch to their side. But if he see no way for them to win, he might not even ponder on taking a side. So I think this gonna be, it really gonna shake up in part 2 of Wano Country. So this is great. And bad news is that One Piece gonna be on break, so I'm still gonna come out with a video on Thursday like always. On Friday like always. So thank you for watching. This chapter was great. And if there's anything I messed up or what you would like to discuss, please leave it down in the comment, because I would love to talk to anybody who's willing to subscribe and stuff like that. So again, peace out. This is Chief of Havoc. Deuce.